Gentlemen, this is July 30th meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30. And could I have a roll call?
Sandy Slavin present.
Malcolm White, present.
And Jim Gibberti present. 3 present. Sewer business, do we have anything other than what's already on the agenda pending? Other Guy?
I'm sorry?
On the sewer business, do we have anything that needs to get thrown in here right now? Other than what's on the agenda?
No, 10 Charlie's on the agenda. I know nothing else. On my report, I want to talk about SR funding, or what the SR funding we're approved for, and we have to get to town meetings, so articles, et cetera, so I'll do that in my report. But that's it, Mr. Chairman, I have nothing under sewer business,
Do you have a
although it's all sewer
report?
business.
Do you have a report?
Yeah, it'll be brief, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's where we're at.
Okay. It'll be very brief. Mr. Chairman and members, I wanted to talk about we got back in January, I believe, an approval of $9 million to do some work at the treatment facility through SRF funding. They sent us a letter asking for a commitment from the town that probably has to be done at town meeting. So and I don't know when the dates of articles for town meeting are. I don't know when they're coming up. I'm not sure of any of that, but I think we need to be aware, because at that town meeting, we need to submit an article, I believe, to get the town's commitment on accepting those funds. We're planning on using those funds for the denitrification filters. We're planning on using those funds for addressing the odor and the basins, whether we're going to cover them all, or et cetera, et cetera. We're going to accept all those funds we accepted all those funds for that, and of course the basin, which we're doing, and we're applying for grants that'll help with that cost. We also had a contract that told GHD through the town meeting last year, this fall, to do an evaluation of the plant, just in case there was something else that tied into this stuff. So anyways, I wanted to bring it to the board's attention. I'm not looking for any vote. This is for your knowledge, and something we have to act upon in the very near future if the town is going to move forward, or if we're not going to move forward. We have to notify the state so some other deserving community can receive it. We did this last time around to $3 million. We refused it. And at that point, no one could use that $3 million because we hung on, finally said no, and we jeopardized some other community in our standing. Here we are again. I want to know what we're going to do. We're also going to start an SRF fund application this August for the funding of the force main on Narrows that needs to be replaced, and it's scheduled for 2020, end of 2021 to be completed in 2022. So my fear is if we keep refusing SRF fundings when we really truly want it, they may not want us to have it. So anyways, I think it's something that at the next meeting we should discuss, decide what we want to do, go over it, and make a move and be prepared for town meeting if that's what it takes.
What is the grant for? How much money?
Remember, it's $9 million.
$9 million?
We did it at last town meeting.
Yeah, what's our contribution on that?
Our contribution, we got to borrow $9 million at a favorable rate from the SRF funding. And so we move forward to do that. I know on the basins we're building now, we have to pay for that, and the town meeting says we could. We have applied for some grants, I think $1 million, maybe up to $2 million, to help offset some costs, but we're still responsible for that. At the last town meeting, we asked for up to $10 million, and it was decided that, well, that's not a good number, we don't want to do that. So we'll do definitely this, and then we'll evaluate, come back in the spring, which we just had, and say, okay, we're going to do this. Well, that never took place. So now with the next town meeting coming in, we have to make some commitments, because if we commit, which we should, then that means the engineers have a limited amount of time to get the paperwork done,
Right.
to submit. So, I mean, it's just crunch time. And the things that we decide to do for the plant, especially the odors, I mean, we've been doing many different things and not addressing it full-heartedly for many, many years. And we know that we need nitrification filters because we all agreed and we all know that it's undersized what we're trying to do. So those things have to be done. So what I'm saying is that we need to put it on our plate, whether it's this agenda, whether it's next agenda or the agenda after that, but maybe we should find out when those articles have to be in and maybe we should talk and make sure we meet. I don't want to have a deadline pass and we're in trouble. So that's, I wanted to bring it to the board's attention.
Historically, the articles for fall town meeting have been the second week in September. It may be a little further out with some recent changes to the charter, but I would definitely look at the second week in September as your target date for completing your articles.
I know there was some scuttlebutt about an earlier town meeting. I don't know if that's
No,
beyond
no,
me. So
no.
if that's not going to happen, then that's not going to happen. So
October, the fourth Monday in October is fall town meeting,
I
whether or not
understand.
it happened, but my recommendation is look at the second week in September as your target date for articles. That's what CPC is doing, so I would recommend we do the same.
And so we have a definitive from the town that we're definitely going to do October, and because of
Put it
COVID, we're
this
not going
way,
to change that.
Put it this way, it's in our charter to have it, so until they change or say something, that's their target date. I've heard nothing that it would change. Even if they delayed it, we still would need the articles in by September.
I just want to make sure it doesn't come forward and we miss dates,
It
that's
will
all.
never come forward. It will not.
Okay. I know COVID changed a lot of things and laws changed. I just want to be sure. I want to make sure we're on top of it. I don't want to say, oops, we missed the date, that's all. And maybe I'm overreacting, but I don't want to miss it because it's critical to not only what we're trying to do now, but in our future also.
The selectmen at their next meeting will set the dates and times for fall town meeting.
Then we'll have a definitive
So you'll
answer.
have it the second week in August, that's their next meeting.
Okay. So I just think that we need to be aware, so that's good. You know.
We'll just shoot for the second week in September,
Okay, that's excellent.
unless we hear something different.
That's excellent. And I want to mention to the board that one of the local businesses up on Route 6, I think it's Family Dental, had a major backup sewer all over the yard in the basement. And it appears to be caused by a contractor doing all that beautiful work. They crushed the pipe and they replaced it without permission. In that process, they chocked that pipe full of sand. We had to go in there with our camera because it was on their property and camera to the street because everybody kept saying that it was our problem on our lateral, which
That's a brand-new business.
that didn't turn out to be true, but that sewer's been there for a long time.
Yeah,
And the beautification of it.
hilltop, yeah.
Okay, so the beautification of it, someone destroyed. They had put, drainages and they dug all kinds of trenches, they destroyed the pipe. They repaired it with no permit, nothing. And so when they made the repair, it caused major harm. They've had a few backups there. This one was pretty severe.
Yeah.
Again, it flooded the basement of the dental office,
Which-
and it also flooded the lawn.
Which pipe did they damage?
The
pipe
lateral, no,
or their pipe?
Their pipe going out. The owner kept saying he was told that it was our pipe that was damaged, so I had to get a camera in there. And I couldn't unless I went on their property.
So send them the bill.
So it's now in the hands of legal. The owner's suing the contractors. I really don't care about that. But my point is, what I'm going to recommend, and I'll develop something, is that we add to our policy for tie-ins to put a cleanout at the property line. In the event we have a problem, the sewer department can enter both ways, we can enter both ways without violating public-private. It's going to be on that private line, so we can do our work. If there's a problem, we can go in there, make sure our lateral is clear, and we can definitively say, our lateral is clear. And we're having the problem more now than ever with roots. We don't plant trees in the streets, but the sewer lines are taking tremendous amount of roots. The homeowners always says, it's our problem. The roots are from the town. I state to the homeowner that the roots are from your yard or your neighbor's yard because the town does not deliberately plant trees in the street. That being said, if we had the lateral, a cleanout, two-way cleanout at the street, then we can go in there with our camera and make some decisions and move on and nip it in the bud. So I'd like to add that to the policy, and
Make
so
it
that's...
so. Yeah. Do you want to write it up?
I can write it up and submit the policy, but yes, that's what...
Yeah, get it done. That just makes sense.
Simple.
Not a big deal. Save a lot of aggravation.
Absolutely. A lot of debating, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. That is all I have. I'm saving a lot of stuff for next week, but that's all I have. I sent you, and I sent you over a couple of things. One thing I sent over was the disposal issue. I think I sent you all a text.
40% more?
Up to
Why?
40%.
Why is that?
So here's the issue with, it becomes a capacity issue. I sent you a list of the actual facilities that we can take advantage of. There's 3. The 3 facilities have to take care of all of New England. So that becomes a capacity issue. Each facility has a maximum amount of capacity established by rules and regulation. When they reach that capacity, you have nothing. So we're all competing for the same capacity.
You mean the 3 in Rhode Island?
Yes, there
How
are,
about the
there's
ones in
nothing in
Connecticut?
Mass.
There's
Nothing.
Connecticut.
Well, then it becomes greater cost. Now, if you look,
Distance,
if you look
travel
at,
time,
if
yeah.
you look at Synagro, who we have a contract with, they own in Connecticut also, they own it in Rhode Island, so they have more flexibility, but the real issue is that all these facilities, in Connecticut, Rhode Island, they have minimum capacity, and we're all competing for that capacity, everybody. And so what's going to happen is contracts that expire, they're going to take somebody in the wings. Nothing will be automatic. I have a fear of going out to bid, and we'll talk about that in greater length. I've got a question into the town attorney to see if we can just simply renew, maintain our spot that we have, opposed to taking the chance of going, saying, okay, we're going to bid out, and they don't like our terms or our package, and they take something that's more lucrative to them. I don't want to jeopardize that. So that's what's happening in the industry. We had a great discussion at this week's meeting with the DEP commissioner and other treatment plant operators and some regulators, EPA, et cetera, and it's a problem everywhere. Not only here, it's nationwide. We're not building any more incinerators, and they're taking them offline, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Landfills are filling rapidly. Turnkey is pretty much down to just New Hampshire alone. So even if we took it and we got a screw press and we condensed it, took out more water and dewatered opposed to gravity filtering out the water, we would still have issues taking it someplace because the landfills are just as much trouble. So it's something that we have to consider. And because we have a contract, we may not see a 40%, but we're definitely going to see a percentage increase because of waiting time, trucking time. Trucks now have to wait in line for a long time. We're paying for that truck. That truck used to go dump and come back. Now that truck goes, sits in line for a few hours, comes back, that's a charge, and that increases cost. So all that's happening, and I want to get on top of it. That's why I contacted our attorney and said, can you look into if we can do this, et cetera, so we can be on top of it, because even though it doesn't expire until next June, as you all know, June comes fast. And then we'll be in trouble. I don't want to get to that position because it jeopardizes the town's ability. If we can't get rid of it, then I'm going to pollute the bay, and no one's going to be happy. And I mentioned that to the EPA and DEP, that you're limiting it. If you don't take a step in getting this right, then we're in trouble. And the other issue is PFAS, and we talked about that before. It's all the, the Teflons and plastics, and it's part of the manufacturing bags, et cetera. Well, PFAS is considered a pollutant. In some circles, it's considered a carcinogenic, and so it's in your sludge, and then when your sludge goes to either incinerator or the landfill, they're saying, no way. So if you're, and the advice was, tongue-in-cheek, is don't test for it. Just don't test for it. Because if I acknowledge I have PFAS, then the conditions of my sludge become critical. Now, any facility may say, you know what, we don't want your product. So that's where the market's going, and it's very tough, it's difficult, and I want to stay on top of it because it's critical to the operation of this facility, critical.
Okay, you turned this problem over to Bowen?
Yes, what I asked Mr. Bowen is to see if we can just renew our contract without going back out, keep it going, then I guess in the next month we'll have communication with Synagro, the Bowen, just to see if we can do something to minimize our risk of not having a place to go and maybe minimizing our increase. So I just wanted the board to be aware of that. That we'll probably discuss many more times. And I think that's it for my report. Let's see, that's it. I'll wait till Charlie comes up.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, we got unfinished business. The sump pumps are still the sump pumps.
They don't change.
Stone Path hasn't come forth with anything on us.
No, but Mr. Chairman, I'm sending a letter. So also, we send them to all our businesses or industries. What I'm sending them is a form that asks them to explain their process. specific. Flow rates, if the flow rates are guessed or are they metered? And from the time a drop water enters that facility until it leaves, what happens? And so I'm sending that to, just to be clear, I'm sending that to all our industrial processes. Like, we're doing the new beer, they're going to do it. We're sending them out because that's the obligation of an industry, is to tell us what is happening in their facility, because that water comes through their facility and comes out to us. And they must establish those facts. And so I'm sending that out specific to Stone Path and all the other industries in Wareham.
Well, should we change the agenda item from Stone Path to industrial users to be more generic, to cover anything and everything, as opposed to just continue to say Stone Path? So we can get a report for all of it? I'm just trying, why is Stone Path being identified on the agenda if,
Because they never complied.
Started, they never complied.
yes.
They never complied.
And they still, are you telling me they still haven't complied?
That is correct.
Okay, then all right, I understand why
That's a
they're
separate- Yeah, they're
pointed out on the agenda.
by themselves right at the moment.
Yeah,
Okay,
too
Do we
hot.
have any more homes connected to sewer? Has Bob?
We've had a couple, Mr. Chairman, I don't have them with me, but I got to tell you, it's moving along. What I find interesting, as these septic systems fail, it becomes, I need to do this, I need to do it right now, and it's kind of comical, because all of a sudden, the urgency is there, and now it becomes a necessity, where before, when we gave them the opportunity, it's like, yeah, I really don't want to do that. So I find it comical, but yes.
And a lot
we're
of the
getting more
homes are
compliance.
selling, so they must,
Must comply.
yes.
Okay, EDU rates, this has been a football for quite some time. We're trying to get something straightened out on that. I've had Tom send a letter to the Wareham Water District and the Onset Water District for public records request form. Being fully aware that that was gonna rattle a cage, and it must have been out, they must have received it and had it for about an hour before I got phone calls, which was what I wanted, so. We now have a meeting with the districts, or with the Wareham District anyhow, on Wednesday at 10 o'clock to discuss this situation.
Where's the request stand?
Pardon me?
What's the status of the request?
It's in your, I'm sorry,
You mean the-
I'm
the
sorry,
Public records request?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We have it.
I apologize, you didn't get his report.
That has been sent to them.
It was sent July 28th, and they have 10 days to respond.
I apologize, I saw you walk in, I've been, it's in this.
Okay.
So we'll have the meeting Wednesday and see where we go from there. This was an FYI. If anybody would like to attend that meeting, they're welcome to. Okay, new business, and the primary reason I called this meeting for tonight is to get approval from y'all on combining the Smith's Pump Station with the C Street project. And the reason for doing that is the savings to us will be $29,750. And that's a result of the bids that Guy had in, one of them from Beta for $39,500, and one from OSD for $29,750. Beta has determined that they can, if we do the projects as one unit, that we can save the engineering costs. And the engineering cost, if we look at their number, it was $40,000. But we look at the low number from the bid that Guy has, it's basically $30,000. So it's still a $30,000 savings. And it seemed to me to be a no-brainer to go ahead and do it. But
I noticed the Beta estimate came out of January 27th, 2000. Is it still a valid estimate?
It is, if you looked at both last year, because we were going to do the job last quarter with COVID.
I didn't see a date on the second one, but
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
did see one.
We got them one after another, so I solicited them, but, well, here's February 26th.
Okay.
February 26th for OSD in January, so when we
So they're
solicited.
both valid
Absolutely.
There wasn't a 2-month delay on, okay, so,
No, COVID got in the way. I had a member from the town not to spend a penny, so COVID got in the way, it got kind of complicated, so it kind of went by the wayside. So now we have an opportunity to save some considerable money, and the monies that we're paying Beta to do the C Street anyways, under contract, is going to incorporate something extra, so it really works out good. 'cause
where are
we're-
we going to get the money for the Smith Street station?
It's going to come out, I believe it's coming out, so that's a good question. I believe it's coming out of capital. And what I may need to do is, because it was all put back into the budget, because I may go to town meeting in the fall to, October, whatever it is, to pull it back out of retained earnings. That would be the worst-case scenario.
So, but the cost to do the Beta contract talks about design, construction, administration, oversight, but it doesn't talk about the actual fixing of the pipes, or is that part of the 39?
That's part of what they're doing. So here's the thing, we're putting out the bid. No matter what, we'd have to put
Okay,
out the bid each of
we
them.
haven't put out the bid to do the actual work on the pipes.
That's coming out next
So
week.
this is just the contract
Engineering.
for the
Engineering
engineering,
contract, yeah.
design, construction, administration, and oversight for the pipes and for manholes.
C Street, yes, C Street's already
That's
accounted for.
I know, but I'm
And
talking
the other one they're
about
gonna
the one
do
of
under the
Smith.
C Street contract. That's
Okay.
presently in place. So the opportunity to save money is considerable. Now, we bid it because we're asking whoever it is, when they're in town to line this pipe, that it's only one more, mobilization, then we should realize cost savings from that. And so we'll get those numbers when the construction bids come back. But if you're a construction person, especially there's only a limited amount of boilers throughout the country, and they gotta be shipped in and different things like that, and they ought to be mobilized, as your bid should be a little
Understand the
better.
savings by doing both projects at the same time. I'm just trying to find the source of the money by adding Smith to the C Street project. Because our capital approval of $1,060,000 was just for Mirror Cove.
You're absolutely
So
correct.
there's no money in the capital article for Smith Street.
Yep, sure. And we'll go to town meeting, because it went back into the retained earnings, because we didn't use it last year.
Yeah.
We'll go in October and bring it back into the budget so we can use it.
So we would ask for a specific article for the additional cost
Yes.
of doing Smith Street. Okay.
Yes.
Just, right
Yes.
now, we have no money earmarked for the addition of Smith Street, just to,
I mean, I would take it out of my budget. I've got emergency all that, but I would rather go to town meeting.
yes. So there's a second that's a second article that we would have to consider
Yes.
putting in for the cost of, so we would have to have some idea of what the repair of the pipe from Swiss Beach to Smith would cost us, to include that in an article.
Yes, because we had an estimate for 300, but now we're going to bid exact numbers because we're going to go out to bid.
Yep.
Originally, we have an estimate for 300,000.
Okay.
I have 250,000 in unforeseen, and this would be unforeseen because it realizes savings we didn't think about. And then I'd have to find another 50,000 somewhere, which I could probably do under contractors or something. I would do it within the
Okay.
budget if I had to. All right, so that, I would make it work, but I'd rather go to town meeting and pull it out of there. But no matter what, we'll make the numbers work.
Okay, could I get a motion to do this, to combine the two?
I'll make a motion, we combine both.
Second?
Second,
Sandy, second. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
300, that's a go. Next, I'm gonna dump in your lap, Guy. This is that 10 Charlie Street.
10-4. 10 Charlie, members of the board, Mr. Chairman. 10 Charlie is right now one lot in the Point Independence area of town. Pretty much across from Lacasse gas station, the golf course. There's a street called Charlie Ave. And so there used to be 3 lots. And the owner of the lots, who lives behind these lots, paid for the betterment, and her husband passed, and she decided that she wanted to build on the 3 lots. The town said absolutely not. You can only have 1 lot. So they're going to build on 1 lot. what she is asking is that she be allowed to tie the sewer using one of those laterals that she's paid for, and not have to pay an additional sewer development fee. The owner of the property, the developer she sold to, is willing to put an easement in there for her, so she could use that lateral because she paid for 3. He's going to use one, and he's going to give her one. There'll still be a spare, but he's not going to use it. She paid for all 3. She's paid the betterments, and so she's asking that we give her permission to tie into that lateral, and the new owner is agreed to it. So I want to bring it to the board, because I think that you should be aware, you should give permission for her to utilize that lateral without paying a sewer development fee. And so all the paperwork is there. You can see that she's paid off the betterment. You can see, I give you a picture of where the laterals are. Within there's a picture of the plans, and it shows the easement that the owner's already granted. It's recorded, you can see that. It's a little smaller than normal, see that. And then I give you an overview of what it looks like, and I showed you the lateral's not as clear as they should be, but you can see the 3 dark lines. That's where the laterals exist, and he's building one house, and he's going to use one for the lady out back who was the original owner of all this property. And you can see in the
So
big plan.
because of the 3 laterals, we have allocated or identified that usage as part of our allocated, not used,
It was allocated when they did the development.
but it hasn't been used. So we're not asking for any new sewer usage because
No.
it's already been calculated.
That's right. Matter of fact, we're still going to save a lateral because you're going to build one house and use it. She'll use one, we'll have one lateral that'll never be used. I think the issue here, because everything else is pretty straightforward, I think the issue is the sewer development fee. And because she's paid for these laterals, I suggest that the board give her the relief of paying a sewer development fee, because that's the real issue. She's already paid for the laterals, and the owner's agreed to let her come in. The question of sewer development fee is the one that's the question I have, and I think that should be waived up front, so there's no issues.
Just out of curiosity, just to put it in perspective, if the town
Yeah,
had allowed
Jim,
her to...
sorry,
If the town had allowed her to build on all 3, she'd have the laterals there, and we wouldn't even be having this discussion.
That's correct.
You could just hook in, up and running, and that's it. So because she sold the property, the laterals are on the property, the new owner is gonna use one. There's 2 dormant.
Right.
She wants to use one of them, and he's gonna allow it with vis-a-vis the easement. I see no reason she should
So-
have to pay another.
That would be the waiver of the sewer development fees for 2 laterals?
No.
Or
One lateral.
just the one? The new,
The new one, yes. Because
no,
technically,
no, there's 3 of them.
yes, but let's be clear. Technically, she lives behind Charlie Street, and it's called East Avenue. And so technically, that area is not sewered, but because she abuts it, we'd have to charge a sewer development fee.
I was trying to, the owner of the second property that's building now will be paying a sewer development fee.
No, you won't.
I'll try again. There's 3 laterals.
Yes.
I'll pay
Two
for
of them will be used, and there'll be no sewer development fee on either of the 2.
That's correct.
That's
I said plural, and you said no. Just to confirm. So the motion will be to waive the sewer development fees for 2 of the lateral hookups? Oh, I thought we're,
You want, you get three laterals.
So-
One's dormant, so there's 2 laterals.
yeah.
One goes with the property.
Don't use that middle finger.
I didn't do that intentionally, that just happened. One goes with the property.
Okay,
One's gonna be used with the property. Let me rephrase that. It's gonna be used with the property.
okay.
The other one, she wants to come from here to come over to here. and
Okay.
Use it, because
So-
she paid for it initially.
So what is so this is
So all
10
all we're looking at doing, because she fronts a different street, and she's coming into one that is sewered, we're waiving the system development in her instance.
Yes.
The other one has it anyhow. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't owe
Oh, he's already
anything.
hooked up.
He's building and hooking.
He's building and hooking.
And when he's building and hooking,
Yeah,
does he pay a fee?
No, because Mrs. Allen paid for them all.
Because we've allocated it and it's been paid for, it's nothing new, I finally get it.
All the betterments are paid, right?
Yes, Miss Allen, and you get a record of the betterments paid. Miss Allen's
I
paid for all
finally
three
got it.
laterals.
That's a lot of money.
And this is called 10, we call it 10 Charlie Ave, or do you want, is there another
Then
address?
Charlie, and I would, what's Miss Allen? Let me get it. I
It
have
would
my
be
phone
nice
with
if
me.
we had her specific
It's,
address.
I think it's, I don't want to give you the number, it's East Avenue, which is directly behind her, the town calls it. So if you look on the
Okay,
big,
how about if we say we would, the location is called 6 Charlie Ave and 10 Charlie Ave, that we would waive the sewer development fee for Mrs. Allen
yes,
on Eastern Ave,
yes, on East Ave,
East Ave.
yes. Miss Allen, East Ave, yes. I apologize, I didn't get her actual address. I know
And-
it's East Ave, but
Along with that, I would recommend that, for the record, we identify the specific street address on East Ave,
I'll get, because she's
and we
the,
add it to the minutes.
she's the only house on East Ave, but I'll get that for you.
Okay. So that's my motion to waive the sewer development fee for Mrs. Allen on East Ave for the
Do I have a second on
for the
that?
hookup on 10 Charlie Ave.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 300. Next meeting date, August 6th, 6:30. Oh, shit. We'll call you back. Yeah,
If that's it,
August 6th, yep.
why do we have dessert? Should I adjourn the meeting and then ask the question? I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.